Hi, I'm Jerry Tallman, and I have been here at North Central for 25 years. I'm an associate professor in accounting, and I've been working with the Enactus program for over 20 years now, and I have been working with Matt Crystal on the coffee project since 2004.
Hi, I'm Matt Crystal. I'm professor of anthropology. I've been at North Central College since 2003. And not long after that, I had the pleasure of meeting Jerry Tallman over here. Jerry came into my office back in the spring of 2005, I want to say it was, and said, hey, we've been buying coffee from a growers association or from a mission in Guatemala, and they tell us all this great stuff about this coffee. The students are skeptical, and they want to go and see for themselves if it's actually having the impact on the farmers' lives that the mission claims. And before he could get the whole sentence out, I said, yeah, I'll go. I'm going. When do we leave? So that started, we followed up that following fall, in the fall of 2005. We visited the community and we found a growers association that's really led fundamentally from farmers in the community. And to me, that was a signal that this was really a project that would empower people, would be a way that we and our students could collaborate with people as they struggle to make better lives for themselves. It wasn't an outsider program that was imposed on folks. It was something that the farmers really owned. And that became really clear as we began to talk to them on that first trip. The students had great experience. We had a great time. And we thought this is really something we could contribute to in the long run. So that's where it started for me.
Okay, the Enactus team started at North Central over 35 years ago. And during its entire time, the purpose is to help other people do better in the business environment in which they're operating. And we started more of a project where we taught in high schools and elementary schools. And we always had in mind, though, is absolutely having an ethical perspective on it and to make sure that we were considering people in underrepresented areas. And so over the years, we've been competing also, and we are one of the few teams that have stayed in Enactus for the whole 35 years. Most of them have come and gone. And we are probably one of the higher ones as far as number of awards over the years. And we slowly got into this project again after Matt and I met, and we realized that we had something that was really directly related to the ethical and the social issues that we were dealing with already, but now we could actually do a project where students were actually involved in real business decision making that was still following the model that we had followed all the way along.
Can I just add something on Enactus? Back then, one of the slogans for I think even at the international level, national organization it was called SIFE then, Students in Free Enterprise. And it was a head for business and a heart for the world, which we loved. But we also found that our partners, coffee farmers and craftspeople, they liked that too. So it was very clear sort of to everybody involved in a really short little expression there, what this was about. It was certainly everybody along the way is going to leave with more money than when they began. We're going to profit, but that there's heart in it, and there's heart in relationships and collaboration with people and seeing our students grow as our partners see incremental improvements in their lives. It's been very rewarding.
Okay, I talked about our Enactus team of being working on projects to help people live within the business world, but you probably could notice by our introductions that Matt and I are not both business people. Matt's an anthropologist and myself being an accountant. One of the things that we recognize is that business students or anthropologist students are going to be working together in the world, whether we're working with anthropologists or whether we're working with chemists or engineers or any other discipline. Business does go across them, and they all come into us. And so we are working with people in lots of different disciplines in this project. Matt and I have been working together for 15 years, but one of the things that we found is it was mostly things that we could do together. And as a result of a lot of preparing and everything, we did get the Coffee Lab in May of 2019. And one of the beauties of that is that we can include now many more disciplines. Rather than just anthropology and business and marketing or accounting, we can now, and we do now, have the engineering department that we're working with engineering students on designing pieces of equipment for us. We have the chemistry department that is testing the water, because the water that we need for an espresso is different than a brewed pot of coffee, and that's something, as an accountant, I don't know, nor as an anthropologist would Matt know, nor would we know how to do the testing. We have students that are going to be doing that work for us. We have our students who are working with the computer graphics department and designing labels for the coffee projects, where we now are expanding to where we have more sources of coffee, more flavors of coffee, and we're expanding where we can have more and more faculty and students across campus to be participating in this. The last thing we want this is to be Jerry and Matt's project, or Matt and Jerry's project. We want as many people as possible, and we are. COVID slowed things down a little bit, but we are working with people across campus to add more disciplines.
Yeah, I'm going to add a little bit there too. The lab has really meant a lot more opportunities for students on campus across a wider range of the curriculum, and the professors, of course, as well, right? You know, I remember when it opened, I don't remember this, a couple people, I think they said the same thing to you, like, oh, like you accomplished this, now you feel like you've finished something, and it's like, absolutely not, we're just beginning now. There's a whole new world here that the lab means. And so for those graphic design folks like our colleague Hale Kinji, that now she has a project that her students can work on, they put in their portfolio, and it's an actual product that goes out into the market. That's just one example, and as we work on this, it gets more and more. So if we think about it in terms of, employers look for functional skills. They want graduates who have skills from their disciplines, but the reality is they're looking for a lot of functional skills. They're looking for leadership, organization, planning, the ability to deal with ambiguity, all sorts of things they look for. We feel like if we think of the history of the project this way, when it was most of our work was meeting with the farmers, and we had the coffee imported and roasted by someone else, and we did some of the distribution, there was really, a lot of it was intercultural learning and handling ambiguity, unexpected teamwork sort of stuff, but only in the field. Now that we have from seedling all the way through to cup, we have opportunities for students along the whole way. That range of functional skills and their ability to develop them in multiple contexts has increased tremendously. So the basic model here is to have as few intermediaries, and I learned this from working with business faculty. It's not a way that anthropologists talk about the world. Minimize the intermediaries that don't add value to the product. And that will make your product at market more competitive, because there's fewer people taking profit along the supply chain. And it also means, from a social justice perspective, it means that farmer gets more of the profit of that cup of coffee than under the conventional sort of supply chain. So keep the intermediaries out of the picture as much as possible. We'd like to say that we invented this idea, but we were really inspired by the farmers themselves as they complained to us. When we talked to them about why they had their project and what were their challenges and so forth. Intermediaries, middlemen, are often what our partners, not just the coffee farmers, but certainly the craftspeople say this as well. Too many intermediaries between us and the consumer. So eliminating those layers of intermediaries means they get more for their work, they get more value for the work they do. We get a better competitive product at a better price for our customers. And our students are involved in the entire supply chain that way. We're not relying on it going outside of us, other than moving coffee across from Guatemala to here. But all the rest of it, we have our hands on it. And that means all sorts of additional learning opportunities for the students. But I've talked enough about what the students get out of this and what the farmers get out of it. Why don't we let some of them tell us in their own words what it means?
Pues yo creo que ustedes han sido un bastión importante para nosotros. Ustedes fueron los primeros, nosotros nos estrenamos con ustedes en exportar el chocolate. Agradecer porque yo me sentí muy emocionada cuando se fue el primer pedido. Y le agradecí a Dios porque ese producto llegó muy bien, porque gracias a que ustedes confiaron en nuestro producto, muchas mujeres están contentas de que tenemos un buen trabajo y para nosotros es una satisfacción. Bien dicen que en casa a veces no se aprecian las cosas. Tiene que venir gente de fuera a decir, tienes un buen producto. Y el producto está desde la tierra, la ilusión de hacerlo con amor y la entrega de muchas personas, porque también han sido buenos colaboradores en los que se puede confiar.
Hi, my name's Katie McGraw. I'm a junior at North Central College and I'm double majoring in graphic design and marketing. So how I got introduced to Enactus was they reached out to our design program and our student design agency at North Central, and we were looking for people to design their pure chocolate bar for their Halloween edition. So I ended up joining that little competition, and after that, I ended up working with the team a little more, and yeah, now we've gotten to this point. So this is the most recent edition of the chocolate bar labels, and a lot of the illustrations are inspired by the Mayan glyph for chocolate, and yeah, this was a super fun design project to make, and I've been able to put in my portfolio and show a real life version of it, so that's been really awesome.
Que yo pueda algún día ver a mi hijo graduarse de la universidad, porque ese es mi deseo. Porque nosotros también tuvimos dificultad con nuestros padres, porque no obtenían un buen salario, no nos dieron lo que nosotros tal vez ahorita podemos darle o brindarle a nuestros hijos. Entonces yo algún día mi deseo es ver a mi hijo crecer, ver a mi hijo graduarse y que él sea de un hombre de bien y todo.
Hi, my name is Sharina Patel. I'm a senior at North Central College and I'm a marketing major with an interactive media studies minor. I got involved in Enactus as a sophomore in my spring semester. I was a transfer student and I heard about it through some friends and classes, and one of our advisors, Amy Rogers, I was involved in her organization, Self-Employment in the Arts, and she told me to come to a meeting, and that's where it all kind of started. I started off as a social media coordinator for the organization because they didn't have a lot going on from marketing their products online, and that kind of transcended into me becoming the VP of marketing for my senior year. As the marketing VP this year, I've had the opportunity to develop our Enactus website, and that was really crucial this year due to the COVID-19 pandemic, because all of our sales were halted in person, and we ended up needing to completely switch over to the online platform, which was new to us because primarily we only had our coffee products on. And this past year, I got the opportunity to rebuild our website completely from scratch and start a new template of what we want it to be for the future.
Mi nombre es Cruz Sajki y tengan ustedes muy buen tarde en este día, y gracias que llegaran en nuestro lugar aquí en Colonia Pampojilá. Estoy aprovechando porque estoy vendiendo mi producto de café y queremos que vamos a lograr en esta meta, porque la verdad que somos necesitados, porque tenemos niños y no tenemos en dónde vamos a traer nuestro dinero. Aquí no hay trabajo, escaso de recursos. Entonces, por medio de ustedes que están aquí con nosotros y también el programa, es un lucho y es un logro para nosotros también.
Hello, my name is Emily Miller. I am currently a senior at North Central College. I will be graduating in 2021. I'm majoring in accounting and I'm minoring in finance. Similarly to Sharina, I was a transfer student as well. I transferred from COD when I was a junior. And how I got involved on campus was kind of a bunch of different things. I had heard a lot about Enactus from different friends and different alumni from North Central. I also did some volunteering with some of my classes, and it just seemed like something that was a lot of fun, and everybody who was a part of the organization seemed very nice. And it was a group of people that I definitely could see myself getting to know and talking to. The more I started volunteering with them, the more I kind of got interested in Enactus itself and kind of the idea of direct trade and philanthropic business and ethics. And so it was something that really spoke true to my heart as an accounting major, and it was something that I wanted to do as well.
Okay, so my name is Gianna Bellato. I'm a senior here at North Central. My major is marketing, and I am the current president of NCC Enactus.
I'm Azelle Michelle. I am the GA graduate assistant at the Coffee Lab. I graduated with a marketing degree in 2020, and I'm right now earning my MBA here at North Central. So right now, Gianna is going to grind some coffee beans for our pour over today, and she is going to be doing medium roast, which is our most popular roast that we have. We roast it right here with this roaster. So this is the Probatone 12, and it was generously donated by Probat. Otherwise, it would have cost a whole ton of money. So we use this machine quite a lot, actually, especially since we've started doing the Black Magic coffee, and we've started roasting for actually an Enactus alum who started his own coffee business, Llama Bean Coffee. We've been getting new coffee just sort of in and out, which is amazing because it's different coffee origins. So actually I get to experiment with how these different origins and these different coffee beans taste actually after they're roasted. And so to actually start the roasting process, first turn on the machine, turn on the gas, which is on the other side. And as soon as this machine reaches 400 degrees, that is the temperature that we drop the coffee. So to get it all ready, as it's waiting, we put it in this funnel here, and it won't fall in until this chute is pressed. So we just wait for it to reach 400 degrees, and then I can just show you real quick. We press this lever, and the coffee just runs down into what we call the drum, and that is very, very hot. But as soon as it drops, since the beans are at room temperature, the temperature inside the drum kind of drops a little bit. And as soon as it starts heating up again, we call that the turning point. And we keep track of that. So I would normally be standing here with a pad of paper, just kind of recording everything. As soon as it reaches, let's see, probably 300 degrees, that's when the beans start turning from green to yellow. And I really like looking at maybe every 30 seconds. I can use this little lever here to scoop in some beans and just take a look at them to see how they're doing. And at maybe 360 degrees, they'll start turning brown, which is, your typical coffee color. And depending on what roast you're doing, you want to bring it up to a certain temperature. So for example, our light roast drops at 405 degrees, and our medium 418, and our dark 440. Right now Gianna's getting the filter all wet just to saturate it so that when the coffee is prepared it does not carry any traces of paper taste. After that is done, she's going to then pour out that water because we don't want that water in our coffee. And she zeroes it out now because right now we're going to measure the relationship between the coffee being brewed and the water being added to that coffee. It's all about your ratio with the coffee and your water. So the coffee is poured in first, that's zeroed out, and now we're going to carefully pour in the water in different increments. So the first part of the process is the bloom, where hot water is poured onto this coffee and it releases some of the gas that it still holds inside. And we call that the bloom because it actually does kind of expand and bubble, and it looks kind of interesting. She'll then start pouring in more water to then start creating that pour over brew. So usually for a pour over, we use our Chemex that are here that were donated to the lab, but we right now are experimenting with our Julios, which we've got from our artisan partner in Guatemala, whose name is Julio, and the name is kind of sort of a joke on the other pour-over method called the Hario, but we thought this would be a really great way to show you guys how we incorporate our artisan products with our coffee products too. It's beautifully decorated, it's handmade, and just gives it sort of a more homey feel to how we prepare a coffee. Actually, as I started roasting, it really changed the way that I think about coffee and the way that I taste coffee. Before I started roasting or even joined this organization, I would just, like Gianna had said, I would drown my coffee in milk and in sugar and in other added flavors. But now I can roast and I can detect specifically what it is that I liked about that roast that I did. Like for the dark roast, I like that sort of burnt taste to it. Almost as if you prefer, I don't know, burning your marshmallows in the campfire to a crisp, and some people like that. And that's kind of how I compare it to really, really dark roast coffee. And then with light roast, which actually is my favorite, that one I just like tasting the actual bean itself, the citrus and the berry taste of it, and the medium, that's just, you know, the perfect sort of combination between the dark flavor and then the actual bean flavor, if that makes sense. And yeah, sort of as soon as I roast it, I like to sort of try it, not even without brewing it. I just take out a bean and I just go off to the corner and I try it just to make sure that I liked what I roast, and then write down exactly what I did so that I can repeat it later.
Well, we just wanted to say thanks so much for taking the time to listen to us here a little bit. As you might sense, you get the two of us talking about coffee, the Coffee Lab, and Enactus. We can go all afternoon. So thank you for listening. I encourage you to stop by our Coffee Lab website and our Enactus website to check out the chocolates, handmade textiles, handmade ceramics, handmade wood items, a whole bunch of stuff this way, in addition to some really fabulous coffee.
I'd also like to thank you, and also to let you know that we are working on a series of coffees that the first one has come to market, but the rest are still coming, and they're called a coffee with a cause. And the one that has made it to market so far and is on both of our websites is the Black Magic Coffee, which is in support of the Black Student Union. We have 3 other ones that will be coming soon, and just watch our website for them and you'll get more information and find out more about them. Thank you.